Okay. We are recording. Boo 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 boo. Recording now. Hello everyone. Welcome to Overthinkers Society with Sue Lee. I'm Sue. Hello. My goodness, it's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while since I recorded one of these podcast episodes where I talk about whatever I want about whatever stuff that's going on in life, whatever rabbit hole that's worth diving into in life. It's been a while. I took a bit of a break, as some of you may know from YouTube and just making content. Just really don't like to use that word, but just making music, making videos, making things to post. For a while, I took a bit of a break from that all for about a year. I mean, not a year. Oh my gosh, not a year. A month. About a month. And man, halfway through that break, I realized how much in need I was of that off time and a little time off from just everything and just focus on my mental health and things that I kind of put off working on for a while due to just focusing a lot on working and just making music and, on the career side of things. I've forgotten a lot about figuring out my diet. I've forgotten a lot about, figuring out myself, doing some, diving into my own psyche and really figuring out who I am, all that identity stuff, identity seeking stuff. But most specifically, more specifically, relating to today's topic, which has also become quite a prominent thing in my life recently, and also the big reason why I took this break in the first place is depression. Shortly before I decided to take this little month of a break, I uploaded a little vlog / update video on YouTube, updating everyone about my decline in my mental health and how I haven't been feeling too well mentally, but also surprisingly physically as well, as an effect of that mental health decline. So yeah, I uploaded that video, and it was funny because when I posted that video, I initially wasn't planning to take any sort of a break. It was more like, I almost intentionally elusively said in the video, see you guys in the next video, to specifically kind of indicate that I'm not taking a break. But, obviously I mentioned that I was going to take things slow. I'm going to make sure that I tend to my mental health first before anything else. But it wasn't, I wanted to make sure that I let people know I'm not going away for any extended period of time, specifically. But having uploaded that video and, gosh, I got so many messages, so many emails and comments, and I know I just read them all, guys. I read them all. I really do. Some people say, like, don't read the comments and stuff, but I do. I read all the comments. And man, all these comments and messages were so positive and so lovely and so vulnerable almost, having so many people actually open up about their own experiences in depression and in anxiety and anything related to mental health issues. Like, it was so eye-opening to see all of you guys just reacting to that specific video. But also another very frequent and many times mentioned things that I saw in the comments was people were saying, like, Sue, take your time, take the break that you need. We'll be waiting for you when you come back. And it was almost like you guys were kind of not only took away from the video that it was kind of like a little announcement that I'm going to be taking a break, but also it was like me reading those comments made me realize that, I wasn't going to take a break, but actually, I think I might. So yeah, it was this weird thing where it's like this kind of mutual kind of agreement that I have formed since reading the comments that maybe I do need a break. Maybe I do need this like complete off time to just solely focus on getting better. So that's exactly what I did. And yeah, in today's episode, I just wanted to kind of run through my experience of, oh gosh, my battery just ran out and I had to switch it. And I'm back. This is probably like while editing. This is like when I edit this in, it's probably going to make no sense because it's going to be like the second after I just said whatever that I just said before the battery ran out. But continuing what I just was saying. So yeah, I thought in this episode, I just thought I'd run through what my experience was leading up to me just kind of reaching the peak of my kind of depressive state, and to a point where I just couldn't take it anymore and I basically just broke. And, run through what actually made me want to get help, what really was the contributing factors to those was, and yeah, that just run through my experience in general in hopes that people who's going through similar things right now may find at least just a bit of, guidance or solace or, I don't know, I don't know, even if you're not going through all these things, maybe it's interesting to hear what other people go through, what I went through when, leading up to just reaching the peak of my crippling depression. But I mean, ultimately, you really don't know. My kind of ultimate hope is that this might be some sort of this kind of driving mechanism or some sort of a slap in the face or like just a little nudge for people who may be a little stubborn in not getting help for their medical kind of mental issues. And I was for sure very stubborn about getting help. But it's like having gotten some sort of help from medical professionals, I now just realize that, oh my gosh, I could have done this way sooner and could have gotten better much sooner. So my hope ultimately is for this episode to just, maybe be some sort of a nudge for people who may be going through similar things, and maybe even just a little, just consider a little bit seeking help or making some sort of a change in their life, just to take a step closer to getting better. But what I was going to say is ultimately you really don't know when you need help until you experience the things yourself. Until you hit that certain point in your personal life and in your personal standards where you can't take it anymore and you've just reached your peak and you've got no other option but to take action and to make some changes. And I'm going to talk about how I've personally reached that state today. So just talking about a few main kind of symptoms that took place for me was, first of all, this just crippling physical fatigue. And it's very, very, very strange that, it's like, depression is a mental condition. So surely this is something that needs to be taken care of within the realm of your psychiatry, your mentality. It should be, this is the realm of the mind. This is not the realm of the body, the physical, the biological. But man, boy, is that wrong. Because, setting aside all that concept of mind over matter, or like stress is a real thing. Stress actually has a biological effect on your body, on your physiological state. It's like it. I mean, it showed. It really showed. And I forget what I was gonna say in terms of the relationship between the mind and the body, but what I can say is this depression thing was just going way beyond my brain and my mind. It was starting to like show. It was showing in my condition, in my body. I briefly touched upon this in my update video on YouTube, the one that I uploaded before I took the break, but it was getting hard to do the physical activities, the daily mundane activities that just was always such a natural thing for me to do. And I'm talking about not just like going out and socializing, going out on a night out or something. I'm talking about getting up, brushing your teeth, getting up from bed, walking around the house to get a glass of water, or washing your face, taking a shower, like all the basic human stuff, like going to the toilets. That was like, I found on some really bad days, I found myself not being able to like get up and go to the toilet to go pee. That was like the level of fatigue that I was experiencing. And granted, I do have also this kind of hormonal issue that I've experienced for a few years now, that just kind of runs in my family. So that kind of partially contributed to this, but it has never been this worst. It has never been this bad to a point where I couldn't function, like I couldn't function as a healthy, young woman with a fairly healthy body that I should be, theoretically, I should be functioning and be able to do these basic life things, but I couldn't. And there really was no explanation to this other than depression. And I think that was really the rough part about this, because everything is so elusive, it's so elusive because there's no like, it's not cancer. It's not, arthritis. You haven't got like it's not a physical ailment because this is caused by something that's completely mental. So for you to claim that this fatigue is due to this mental condition is almost like, it almost sometimes for me felt like I was making up excuses to just laze out and just be a sloth. And that, I think that just contributed more to being more depressed, because I was now feeling guilty about it, like being fatigued. Like, I'm not supposed to be feeling tired all the time. I'm just lazing out. I'm just being lazy, And I think that really contributed to the guilt as well. So it just did not help. Physical fatigue was very bad. And I just lost all interest in doing work, because a lot of my work consists, well, not a lot, but partially my work consists of me being active. I like shooting videos. And I move around in my videos. I talk a lot in my videos. I like live streaming. I like just engaging, and I like being active. I like doing these things, but all of a sudden I couldn't. So that was one of the big things, one of the big symptoms from depression that I got and was suffering a lot with. The second one is, this is now a very we're moving into a more mental kind of psychological state effect of it all. But I was being very cynical about everything. I found myself being very negative about not just work and my career, but just everything, my prospect of life, my outlooks, my just like every single thing I had to like overthink and overanalyze. And we're overthinking right now, like Overthinker Society, yeah, but it was not in a pleasant way. There I feel like there are two different types of overthinking. One being like a very thoughtful one that can lead to actually quite groundbreaking insights about yourself or your life or just anything in general, just whatever topic that we're overthinking about. And there's another type of overthinking which a lot of people actually do have a hard time with, is the one that is just completely unnecessary. It's not needed. It's overanalyzing, and it's just toxic chain of thoughts that becomes something that is almost like cancerous. Like it starts from one factual thing to after a series of toxic overthinking becomes this completely morphed version of what was the truth, and now is this like weird morphed like overanalyzed, like imagined kind of illusion of yours. And that kind of negative side of overthinking was what I was constantly going through, having reached the peak of my depression. That was not pleasant. I think more than anything, it really was the negative outlook that I had with my work, relating to my work and my career, that made me have a hard time more than anything. Because the thing about it is depression seems to have this effect on you where it seems to turn you into this kind of, it detaches you from your own self, and not in like this Buddhism like detachment in a good mindful way, but like detachment as in like you lose all control of yourself kind of detachment. So you find yourself looking down at yourself and not being happy at the things that you're being cynical about at the moment, but not being able to do anything about it. So things like I hated, like, for instance, I had so many days when I did not want to make music. I hated music even. Like, I did not like moving my body. I was having thoughts like, I hate dancing. Why am I dancing? This has no point. There is no point in me doing this. Or things like, I hate everything. I hate everything. I want to just quit altogether. I want to quit music. I want to quit all of this to get all together and never have to think about it again, kind of level. And what was most excruciating was that moment when I was being cynical about all these. And the true me was looking down at myself, having all these thought processes and being like, I know this isn't me. This is not me. I hate this. You know this isn't you. Why are you even remotely considering these things? But I can't. I was out of control. It was like my thoughts and my mind had just like lost control of the vehicle, and my hands were off the steering wheel and everything was just running crazy mode autopilot. That's what it felt like. The crazy mood swings. Oh, don't even get me started on the mood swings also. I mean, it's one thing to be cynical about things constantly, but another to like just not know where I'm gonna be the next hour, the next day, the next week. I think I briefly mentioned in one of the episodes that I did with my friends where I just rambled on about uh, the mental state that I was at, and that was actually kind of like the kind of a little bit of a hint of what was about to happen, because that was way before this whole peak of the depression. But basically, I said I was very fearful of myself sometimes because I didn't know how I was going to feel the next minute, the next hour, the next day. You know, that element of just losing control of my state of being is just unbearable for me. And you know, like nobody actually, well, the thing is nobody knows. Nobody, there's no one person in this world who can expect how they're going to feel the next moment, of course. But I think for me it was just that sheer frequency of the mood swings were just driving me crazy. Like I'm not even joking, I'm not even exaggerating. I would be crying my eyes out for no reason. And like first thing in the morning, I would like just wake up from this like this weird nightmare that I can't even remember. And I wake up and I just cry my eyes out first thing in the morning for no reason, no particular reason. And then I would like cry for like a good hour. And then I would just see something on the internet or like see a cool meme or something, like a funny meme. And then I would just be like on cloud nine for like a few hours. And then I would get back into that like tear fit, like anger filled tear fit all of a sudden for no other particular reason. And it was just this constant mood swings over the course of hours and sometimes even like minutes. You know, that was really driving me crazy. So yeah, just that loss of control over myself, you know, just not feeling like I was myself. I was slowly feeling like I was losing myself, and it was like the detachment was getting scarily fearfully getting what is it? I can't, my mind's gone blank. The distance between that not me, that depressed me, and the real me was getting wider and wider, and that really scared me. It just felt like I was every day, every minute, I felt more like I was losing control, and I feared so much that I would eventually just lose myself altogether, and I would just live my whole entire life not having control, just run an autopilot for the rest of my life. That was genuinely a big fear for me. Speaking of enduring the rest of my life with this condition called depression, it actually leads up to the third point, which is actually going to take a bit of a dark turn. It was actually thoughts of ending my life at some times. It's I would say that was really the scariest thing of all for me. It was just, I mean, so I remember there was a point where, I mean, there were many times in my life where things just got really rough, and just got really unbearable. And there were times when I actually sometimes considered it might be easier to just end it all. It might be easier if I can just quit life. And it's just literally so easy for me to do it if I can just get rid of that fear of, the gore of it all, or the possibility of it failing. Those are like the big fear components for me that that I never really took action or even remotely thought about taking actions on, like when I was going through rough patches. But I sometimes sometimes just indulge in the idea of the possibility of maybe ending myself. But going through depression and really kind of reaching reaching the pinnacle, if you will, of the depression taking over me, I started to get thoughts where I considered suicide more seriously than I ever had in my entire life. That really, really, really scared me. There was a point where it just completely just appeared on my YouTube algorithm, recommended places, things. The mystery of YouTube algorithms. I don't know how the hell that video just got recommended, but there was a point where I came across a video of, I think it was like on Vice or something, where it was a video about realtors. Realtors, the people who trade like properties and real estate. Realtors in Japan, where they specifically are pros at dealing with properties that has a bit of a dark kind of past in it. So it's like it's basically like ghost. They were titled. The video was titled as Ghost Houses, like people who trade and market ghost houses. But it's actually just houses that had some very kind of horrible incidents happen in that property. Things like suicide or people just dying alone or murder or things like that. And those places are usually cheaper because of the kind of, obviously for obvious reasons, just the kind of notion that, if it's kind of like a cursed house kind of thing. So it's not a good thing for you to like be living in a house where a suicide happened, for obvious reasons. But in one of the houses that they introduced, they talked about this old man who had committed suicide in a particular spot in that house. And they were like getting very deep. They went into the details of how the old man committed suicide at that very spot, and how he did it was that he kind of put a little like rope or like a necktie of a sort around his neck and tied the other side of the rope to a doorknob, and that's how he committed his suicide, and that's how he died at the spot alone in his room. And I remember seeing that scene. And I seriously considered doing the same thing. And it was really, 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 a very dark moment for me. And it made me so sad that I was having these thoughts. I know. And the thing is, like, and this is all like, everything is so based in fear for me as well. Like, especially when it comes to opening up about this whole, my depression, is like, I fear if I open up about, having suicidal thoughts to people, or feeling fatigued all the time, or being like having so many complaints about myself and my situation and being cynical about everything, it's gonna, if I open up about all these things, I'm gonna come across as being ungrateful or, um, or just being whiny, because for some people, when they look for outside, for people who don't necessarily know what the thought process is like for people who are going through depression, they may look at me and hear what I have to say about my symptoms and think, wow, I don't understand why she's being so whiny. Like, I don't understand why she's complaining about these things when she has a roof over her head, or when her music career is going great, and she does this and that, and she has this and that, like, she has no reason to be sad. She has no reason to be depressed and have depression and have suicidal thoughts. And that's like a big fear component for me. But something which has really put me off from like opening up to people for the longest time. But getting these really, really, really sad and dark thoughts about ending myself, ending my life, really scared the shit out of me. It really did. I mean, it's just, I love my life. I love my life. I really do. I love the people around me. I love how I can make music and have so many amazing people, this community filled with such lovely, lovely groups of people, and have recently got a team on board who I can like brainstorm with, like be like, hey, we got this together, I'm so happy about having such great family, and I'm happy about a lot of things in my life, and I'm grateful for it. And I'm scared that I'm even considering actually taking action on these really bad thoughts and ending this all. So all these things that I was experiencing took me to a point where I reached this kind of limit where I either truly take action and end it, end everything, end myself, or do something else. Take action on trying to make some changes in my life. Do something. Do whatever I can. Do something different from what I've always done. And thankfully I chose the latter, because like I said, I love my life. I don't want to end it. And I want to do whatever I can to not get these impulsive thoughts about ending this really lovely life, the flaws and all, And that was really when I decided to take action and make some changes in my life. And actually, it wasn't then and there that I decided that I'm going to get medical help. I was still at that point very stubborn about getting therapy, medication, meeting the doctors, and professionally consulting about my symptoms and getting diagnosed. I was still very stubborn about all that, and very dubious about it. But the first thing that I did do was to open up to people around me. And that's still prior to like me uploading that video, the update video, but I did talk a lot to my family, the closest ones to me, my mom, my sister, and even my dad, who I have frankly fallen out, had a bit of a fallout over the course of the last 10 years or so, starting my parents' divorce. And, even my dad, I opened up about all this. And not gonna lie, it was not an easy decision to just initiate the first conversation, just to, sit down face to face with my mom and talk about what I have been going through. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't able to look into my mom's eyes because I love her. I love her to bits. I love her so much. And man, who wants to tell their own mother that you thought about killing yourself? Like, who wants to do that? I don't want her to, I don't want her to go through the heartbreak, but I was desperate. I had to do it. And I did. It was such a difficult conversation, especially the first one. I think the fear comes back, the what if I don't get taken seriously? Even to my mom, like, what if she doesn't take me seriously? What if she just tells me off? What if she just says, like, just shake it off, and you'll be feeling fine a week from now. Tomorrow you'll feel much better if you have some sweets that you love so much. You have some chocolate or have a good meal. It's because you just skipped a lot of meals today. What if I'm not taken seriously? That was really I was concerned about that a lot, and that did frankly happen in the past, because I actually don't know how long this depression has been going on, but I can tell that this was something that was in me for quite a while, for many, many years. And it just only, kind of peaked recently. So I remember in the past, I tried opening up to my family, but it didn't go the way I wanted it to. It just, like I feared, it was always like, brush it off. You'll feel better soon. Just gotta, everyone has their bad days, all the kind of typical kind of reactions that I feared the most. But I think really what made, by the way, this conversation that I recently had with my family, it was not taken lightly. My mom, my whole family, they were like, they believed me. They knew that this was not something to be taken lightly. I was being serious, and I was genuinely just scared so much for my life. I was so scared. I was terrified, and they can tell. They really saw that in me. And I think one of the reasons why was, it probably was, like the topics of the things that I mentioned in the conversations, it's themselves really did take a part in it, because I never mentioned about like ending my life or having thoughts that I shouldn't have, having really bad thoughts. Those were never mentioned in any of the conversations in the past. So that probably, contributed to them taking me more seriously this time. But I think more importantly, this time, it was really my attitude. I was like, Mom, I have to tell you about something. Like super serious. Like this, this is a big thing in my life. Like this is like, we're talking face to face, and we're talking about this. Not like, oh, we're watching TV and like, I'm just like dropping some words and like, oh, casually having like throwing some things into the conversation. No, like TV's off. I am talking to you about this now, here and now. I think that attitude really kind of, that really somber attitude really helped kind of really set the mood and really gave the vibe to them that I'm not fucking around talking about this. So yes, it wasn't, and it also wasn't like one session of a conversation. This happened over the course of many, many talks, many, many nights of crying and just just rambling out and just literally pouring out everything that was inside of me and that I was kind of suffering with alone for a very long time. And it was very cathartic. It was a very relief. It was a big relief for me to just get it all out without without worrying. You know, once that barrier was down, once that wall was put down, it was like I was like a waterfall. It was like a waterfall of just me pouring out the things that I had been suffering with. And it was something that was like, it just got easier and easier to a point where I was like, man, it was still really difficult to initiate the conversation at first, but I'm glad that I did, because I'm finding this much easier and not as intimidating thing to do. Like, I found myself at a place where I was more honest with my family, the ones that I've been spending my lifetime with. I was more honest with them than I ever been. About my feelings, about my emotions, about myself. So that was a choice that I'm so glad that I decided to make. After talking to my family, opening up to my family, came the stage where I wanted to open up about this, not just to my closed ones, but to my other closed ones, who are you guys, you guys, the audience, my community, my fans, my listeners. I wanted to let you guys know about this as well. This time, not so much as a cathartic experience, a way to relieve a part of myself, but more so out of my integrity, as a creator, as an artist, as a human being on the internet. I've always been drawn to like just being raw and not having things staged too much, and like just keeping it real. I love that. I just love being myself. And because I was also inspired by the people on the internet who were on the same kind of what is it? Who are on the same caliber as the things that I'm drawn to now, the authenticity, the honesty, the rawness, the crudeness of it. I have been inspired by so many of these type of creators. Like, I have had many times when I got so much help watching Markiplier's vlogs a few years back, his late night vlogs about, one of his videos, like, watch this when you're feeling sad. Those videos just really helped me just get through some really rough times. And I aspire to be like that. I aspire to just be open about things and just be honest. And so from that place came my decision to make that video, that vlog. And I'm not gonna lie, it was very difficult. It was one thing to make the video. I was already having, I was literally having one of those like really bad depressive episodes where I just, the symptoms that I mentioned earlier, like I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't stand up, just like talking, like moving my mouth and making a sound itself was very difficult. I couldn't I couldn't form sentences. I couldn't comprehend, like I couldn't form a comprehensive sentence or phrase or anything. So making that video was difficult, but deciding to putting up that video was a whole different came with a whole different like set of thought processes. Um, it induced a lot of fear again. Um, I think I'm known, I feel like I'm known to be this bubbly, dancey person who likes making music and joking around and dancing and just doing fun things. And I love doing that. I love making people smile. That's where the greatest joy lies in for me, actually. I love that. But but that video that I shot about opening about my depression was completely the other side of the spectrum. It was still me, but something so drastically different. And, I did put up little vlogs and little short video clips in the past about, just me casually saying, I'm a little lonely tonight, or I feel a bit sad tonight. I'm having a bit of a rough day, a bit of a melancholy day, but I was never that upfront and blunt and very like just straightforwardly addressing what I was going through, like that in the video. And it scared me that doing something like that that's so drastically different from my usual kind of bubbly videos would just turn people off from me altogether. I feared that people are gonna be fed up with me being so whiny and the same fear that has always been there. Like, what if people don't take me seriously? What if people do take me seriously and realize that I'm just this sad person and I'm toxic? And, what if people don't like me anymore? What if people think worse of me? Which, like, in theory is impossible, because I know for a fact that people in my community are the sweetest people. And I know, like, in my head, I knew they would understand. They would be supportive. But just the headspace that I was in, it was hard. Like, it was just still a very fearful thing to do. But I, like I said, it's part of my creative integrity to just update people about what I'm going through and be honest and just be brutally honest about myself and my situations. So uploaded that. The support was, my goodness, was just, the response was just out of this world. Like, it was nothing like I've ever experienced. I think the most amazing thing for me was getting these messages from people who opened about their personal experiences. It was like, Sue, I feel you. I completely feel you. When you said you couldn't get up from bed, you couldn't take a shower, you couldn't wash your face. I felt you, because I experienced the same things. I am currently experiencing the same things, or I experienced the same things in the past, but now I'm doing better because I've gotten help. So many of the people reached out to me, opening up about their experience in going through depression and getting over depression. And that was really just so amazing to see, like so amazing to read and just know. And it just made me realize that I'm not alone in that, in this whole uh endeavor of dealing with mental health issues. Um so beginning from my little, conversations that I had with my family, that was when I really started to consider getting actual medical help. And it wasn't like my family persuaded me or talked me into trying medication or trying therapy. Actually, they didn't even mention medical help at all. But I think really through the course of these conversations, that I myself realized that I really want to get better. I want to, I know that the help is there. So it's only up to me to decide to take it or not. And talking to my loved ones, I just realized that I might as well just give it a try, because I've decided already to open up about this to the people around me, to get help, to make some sort of change, to sorry, I just adjusted my post, to kind of disrupt the toxic loop of depressive thoughts in my head. So I might as well just go all out. Just really just go all in and try getting help. If it doesn't work, I can always quit. But I don't know if it's going to work until I try it. And so I was already in the state of getting diagnosed, not surprisingly, getting diagnosed with depression. I mean, I already saw it coming. It wasn't much of a big surprise that I had it. But getting medicated, getting recommended therapy, and recommended making some changes with my lifestyle, taking up exercises, hobbies, little things like that. But getting all the messages and stories and reading the comments from you guys on that video really confirmed for me that I want to continue getting help. It was already doing wonders for me, but it really, really just confirmed and solidified my desire to get better and keep making changes, keep disrupting my toxic loop of thoughts, and break free from my own ailments, depression. So I just want to thank you. I just want to thank everyone. Like, honestly, it's great. It's just great. Just having such a wholesome support system. It's really great, and I'm so glad. And I mean, which is one of the biggest reasons I'm making this episode right now. I'm not making this episode just to talk about and ramble about my experience, but I want to, like, it's also like hand in hand with me, like, releasing ouch as well. It's not just to just output into the world what I went through personally, but actually to like give back to the people of the help that I got from them. Just letting somebody know that they're not alone in suffering. That's what I wanted to do with ouch. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I want to do with this episode, talking about things more in detail. Because man, I realized how much of a powerful thing it is to just be honest. Like, not even like suggest different ways of getting help. Like, hey, get this medication, that medication, this therapy, that therapy, or oh, this doctor, that doctor. It's not even that. Just like, hey, I went through this as well. Hey, this was my symptoms. This was you're not an odd, like, you're not crazy. because I went through the same things. So don't be too hard on yourself. That alone was life changing for me. So I just want to do the same things, you know? Yeah, so currently getting medical help, currently getting some help. I am so far from being recovered, but I'm doing much better. Therapy, medication, and lifestyle changes, like I mentioned, have been doing wonders for me. And I still have bad days, but I think medication more than anything has been a great moral support. I think chemical wise, like it's not probably like doing like causing as much of a drastic change in my, I don't know, brain chemistry because excuse me, because because I'm actually starting on very low dosages of SSRIs, which is like antidepressants. I thought I might as well just start low and then move up to a point where it feels right for me, than to start on very high dosage, and then have to find myself move down. So yeah, I'm on very low dosages, but I find that it still helps me a lot. And I think the big part of it is like moral support. And I wouldn't call it like placebo because it still, does something to my brain chemistry. But I just like the feeling of just knowing that I'm getting some sort of a chemical help, just that little chemical boost to get things going, stabilize the mood swings a little bit. And that alone has been helping a lot. I've heard from people that therapy works very well for them, has worked very well for them, and it really helped them cope with their depression. For me, therapy is still a little bit of a wobbly thing. Not so much because of the therapy itself, but I think there is a language element to this, because I currently live in South Korea, and 99.999% of the therapists that I can find around me are Koreans. So the therapy sessions have obviously been taking place in Korean. So I'm expected to, open up about my experiences and my feelings in Korean. And I think I find myself being able to express my feelings a little better in English, and a little more succinctly and a bit clearly in English than in Korean. And I feel like I'm currently in this weird limbo of being a bilingual, where I'm neither good at English nor Korean. So I'm not good at speaking neither of these languages. So I'm like this in this weird limbo. But if I had to choose either one of them, one of these languages to choose when it comes to therapy, I would definitely opt for English. So I think therapy has been a little more difficult than I imagined, because I feel like there's a bit of a cultural dissonance between me and my therapists that I've tried so far. But I do want to keep trying out therapy, and hopefully if I ever go to the States or any other English speaking countries, I'd love to try an English therapy session and see how that works out. Last but not least, lifestyle changes have been doing pretty good stuff for me. I've taken up dancing. Surprisingly, like I know I never thought I would take up dancing. It's like I've always been kind of stubborn about not actually taking dance classes. I was like, I'm gonna just be myself. I'm just gonna move with the flow. I don't need dance instructors. I don't need dance classes. I'm just gonna move. I'm just gonna vibe on my own. I don't need that. But in the process of thinking about, because I was recommended strongly that I take up a hobby, something that's like not work related, something that is just completely outside of my realm of profession. So I was, and exercise was like one of the big things that I was recommended out of any other hobbies. So I thought about like tennis. I thought about swimming. I thought about like golf, but like dance just sounded really fun. I don't know, just I wanted to try it out at least. And I tried contemporary dancing because like hip hop, like K-pop dancing. There's a lot of dance classes, different types of dance classes you can find in Korea. But out of all these different types of dances, contemporary dance just sounded really cool. And I mean, like, I don't know if that's actually like genre wise classified as contemporary dancing, but man, I remember I was like in awe after seeing Ed Sheeran's Thinking Out Loud video. Wait, is that the video where he was like dancing so elegantly with with a partner? I think so. But anyways, I remember seeing that video where Ed Sheeran was like dancing his body out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this dance is so cool." So, and that was like, I think that was like more leaning towards contemporary dancing than anything. It was definitely not urban hip hop dance. So I was like, I'm gonna try contemporary dancing and see how that goes. I mean, at least it would give me a reason to get out of the house twice a week. Tried it, loved it. I love it. I mean, there are days when it's still like it frustrates me that I can't remember certain moves or the sequences of like the choreography. It angers me sometimes, but in a good way, you know, like I find myself like gritting to like remember the moves. And like they like in an hour session of a class, like half of that actually is dedicated to like stretching and warming up the body, which I'm sure is a very important step. But I wish I could just skip altogether to just do more dancing. But like in the warming up stage, the dance instructor makes me do like these like hard like not weight but like muscle movements, muscle workouts like planks and stuff and like push-ups. And man, I'm like my puny arms and my flappy stomach could not handle those at first. But it's like it's strangely just I was having so much fun with these dance classes that it strangely motivated me to like get better at these like side I mean, I will call it like side things like the fundamental things like getting the muscle built up and like leaning up in certain parts, getting a little lighter in terms of the weight, in terms of your body weight, and you know, getting more flexible. And it just all contributed me to just wanting to get better. And I found myself being in a very healthy headspace when I thought about continuing this dance endeavor, journey, whatever. So yeah, dance is fun. I've been having a lot of fun dancing, just learning dancing. Hopefully, I still suck at it, and I still like have so many moments where my dance instructor just like literally borderline like sneers at me because I would just literally be just rolling on the floor when I'm not supposed to, in my failed attempt to try to follow the choreography. But it's just fun, and hopefully I'll get better to a point where I can like, I don't know, film myself dancing some sick ass contemporary dance choreography and show you guys in a video. But all these changes that I've been making in my life have been helping a lot, and just coming towards a bit of a conclusion, even in the midst of getting medical help, being medicated, trying out therapy, seeing doctors, and taking up hobbies and exercises. Even in the midst of all that, I am still very much suffering. I'm not recovered. I am far from being recovered. Um, I have days when I don't do so well, like yesterday, even, for instance, I just could not move. I spent the majority of the day looking up into my ceiling, lying on my bed, because that was the only thing that I can manage to do. But I want to get better, and I'm not the same person, even though I still have the bad days, the same days when I feel powerless and defeated by my own self. I know now that I'm not the same person that I was before deciding to open up to the people, deciding to get help. So I know I'm not the same. I know I'm not in the same lonely place as I was before. So that gives me a lot of hope. And if there's anything, if you're somebody who's going through anxiety, who's going through depression, who may not even be diagnosed with depression, but just has a lot of days when they're feeling depressed, feeling sad. If you're one of those people, the best I can do is not to say, hey, go get help. Hey, go visit the doctors. Because that's not really it. That really isn't it. The best I think I can do is this, just to let you know, you are not alone. You're not alone in feeling powerless. You're not alone in feeling guilty about not being able to do anything other than lie in your bed. You're not alone in feeling like a failure in life. You're not alone in feeling like there's no hope in the future. There is no forward action. You're stagnant for the rest of your life. There's no hope. You're not alone in feeling like you're going through this all alone. You're not alone. And please don't give up. I know that's a very cliche thing, but I mean it. Please don't give up. I can't say that it gets better, because I can't say that to myself either. Like I said, I had such a shit day yesterday, but it's not gonna last forever. It's not gonna be the same forever. Yes. They say that true wisdom comes from realizing that nothing is permanent. Good things and bad things. Nothing is permanent. So if you're having a shit time, shit day, a shit period in your life, please know that this isn't gonna last forever. This isn't permanent. At least I'm the living testament of that. I am, although I have my shit days still, although I am still very much in the midst of suffering from depression, it's not the same for me in a good way. So please, don't give up. It's gonna change. It's definitely gonna change, because nothing is permanent. Nothing is stagnant. So don't give up. I'm here. Going through this with you guys. I'm here. So thank you guys for listening and watching to yet another episode. It feels good. It really feels good to just be back and talking again, be able to talk, and yeah, still taking things slow, but I feel much more stabilized, and it feels good to feel a bit of a change and be able to come back to making stuff and doing stuff again. So thank you guys, and see you guys and talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye.